Lois Azurfa, a 21-year-old undergraduate, was among the 65 passengers in the Abuja-Kaduna train kidnapped by terrorists on March 28, 2022. She shares her 191-day traumatic experience and why she refused to marry the terrorist commander while in captivity. She explained, "We boarded 6 p.m. train, so we were on transit, and at about 7:59 p.m. at exactly Regina, there was a loud sound that rocked the train like an explosion, which made the train to derail and the train stopped. So we were being asked to lie down flat in the train, and it wasn't long we started hearing gunshots. Then, next thing, the gunmen just entered the train and started shooting sporadically. So if you're not even careful, you can be hit by random shots and become victim of stray bullets. Some people were killed and some got injured because they were being shot. They asked us to go out, so we left the train, and then we were asked to climb a hill, which we did. They collected all our belongings like our phones, our bags and money, everything we had on us, they collected it. The men amongst us, their hands were tied up, and they asked us to start trekking, start walking, so we walked for about approximately 6 hours that night until we got to a place where we saw motorcycles which carried us to another location that night. We used the whole night journeying till we got to a place where we were asked to lie down, and then it wasn't long, then it was time for their morning Muslim prayers. So after the prayers, they took us to a rocky area where we stayed there, and they gave us gari and granite to eat. So throughout that day, we didn't do anything but were just seated there. We were 65 in number. They were always taking us from one place to the other at night, so that's how we journeyed throughout that night too, and it took us like 4 days before we got to the permanent camp. They kept us. In July, the issue of ransom came in, and then families started securing the release of their members from the camp. So for the first set that left, they were like 7 in number, including the Pakistani among us. So then subsequently, people kept paying for their families to leave the camp. One of them approached me, that he is one of their superiors, their commander, so he approached me because I was the youngest there, and then I'm actually a Christian. He approached me and he said he liked me and wanted to marry me and keep me in the camp. I told him I could not because I'm still young, and then I could not just take that decision because I barely knew them and for the fact that they were my abductors. And then why would you just offer to marry me and then I would still accept? So at that point I actually rejected, but then they subsequently kept coming with threats. At that point, I just kept praying because that was the only thing that could get me out of there. I spent 191 days in Boko Haram captivity, that's 6 months, 3 weeks. When I was released, everyone was overwhelmed with joy because at some point my family gave up. They didn't know I was going to come out alive. So it came as a shock to them that I'm actually out. So they were so happy to receive me and to have me back. There are many others that were kidnapped and didn't come back alive, and some were not even released, they were being forced to stay back. But in my own case, I would say it was a miracle. My family were really happy to have me back. If I really have opportunity to travel out, I think it will be better for me because staying in this country, I feel I'm not still safe for the fact that Boko Haram had indicated interest to marry me. At some point, I was actually thinking they never wanted to get me released. I feel that staying back in this country, Nigeria, they can come back for me if they still want me. So I don't really feel safe. That's one reason why I don't really go out. So I feel like it can still happen again, so I don't really feel safe. I feel if there is any way for me, if there is a way for me to leave this country, it would be better for me. My appeal is that the international community should come to our aid, especially those of us that were kidnapped, because till today some people are not over the experience and trauma. We had children amongst us that were kidnapped and then coming back. I feel like their education too should be something that should be sponsored. I also feel most people lost their job during the attack, and then some still finding it hard to survive. I feel the international community should reach out to us and then know where and how they can help in education or any other basic needs.